a part of me has died. Like, my tooth literally died. I used to always worry about what people thought of me and would try so hard to live by society's standards. Then I realized that I was created to be different, and regardless of what I did, I would never fit in. So I decided to follow my dreams instead. Join me on this journey as I grow in my faith, go through the ups and downs of pharmacy school, and most importantly, being God's masterpiece. Hey everyone, so in this video I want to talk about my experience with Smile Direct Club. So if you watched my video about my bedtime routine, you saw that I was putting in my liners, and I shared with you that I was doing Smile Direct Club, but it's been a really difficult journey for me. Well, a couple weeks ago that journey got incredibly difficult and I almost lost my front tooth. So during the week of Thanksgiving, I had put in new aligners and they were really painful. Like, it was really, really painful. And I was just like, okay, you know, they're shifting my teeth, so of course it's gonna hurt. I should mention that the reason why I was doing Smile Direct Club was to correct my gaps. I don't have a problem with gaps at all. I didn't even notice I had a gap until it was pointed out to me in college when I was made fun of and I was told that I would be prettier without my gaps. And that really hurt. It really, really hurt, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna close my gaps. And when I decided to do this in college, like I tried using a rubber band and I woke up bleeding, and I was like, okay, I can't do this. Like, it was bad, and I was just like, you know what, this person just wasn't a nice person. Like, that's it. And so I was just like, you know what, fine. I'm just gonna appreciate who I am. I'm gonna accept who I am, and I'm gonna love my gap because it's beautiful. And so I told myself this, and I believed it for a while. And then this year, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted change. I just felt like I just wanted to do something different. And I kept telling myself, like, no, it's not because someone has made fun of you because of your gap. Like, no, it's just because you want to do this for yourself. And I tried to make up all these excuses, knowing very well that, like, it was because I felt like maybe I'd be prettier if I didn't have my gap. Yes, I said it. That's what I thought. I'm just being transparent. If you watch my channel, you know I'm all about transparency. And if you don't, well, now you know. But anyway, so that's why I was doing Smile Direct Club, was to correct my spacing. I'm not against anyone who's doing it to fix that, but like, that was just me. So I switched the liners and I put them in. This is month 2, so I'm still like pretty early in the journey. And I put them in, they're really tight. It was so bad, like I couldn't even like eat. You know, like how you have to take them out to eat? Like, all I could eat were mashed potatoes. Which is fine with me because it was like the week of Thanksgiving, so it was like whatever. So I take out my aligners on like 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I noticed that like my left tooth, like a different color kind of, but it's like a tint. It's not like anything that's noticeable, but I was like, oh, maybe there's just a shadow from the mirror. Like, I wasn't like thinking anything of it. So I still have it in my teeth. And then on Thanksgiving, I'm like at my sister's house and I noticed that like it's getting darker. And I'm like, why is my tooth like a different color? So I'm like, okay, like, I'm not gonna put these aligners back in because I don't know what's going on and I'm a little scared. So it's whatever, Thanksgiving, you know, we're family's there hanging out, having a good time. So the next morning I wake up and I'm like talking to my dad and my niece, like we're all playing with her and stuff. And then I'm just like, yeah, I think I need to go to the dentist. Like, my tooth is like a little darker. You probably can't notice it. And my dad is like, yeah, no, I do notice it. And at this point, I didn't look in the mirror yet and look at my tooth because I literally just woke up. And then I run to the bathroom and notice that my tooth is now like gray and very noticeable. It was very apparent. And I like go to my mom and I'm like, do you notice my tooth? She's like, yeah, what is that? And like, I had showed my sister the night before and she didn't really see it, but now she was like, whoa, it definitely got worse like overnight. Like, how did that happen? And I'm like, I don't know. It's the day after Thanksgiving and I'm freaking out. My mom is freaking out. My dad is just like, this is why you shouldn't do online things that professionals need to be doing. And I'm like, you're not helping me right now. Like, I'm just like going crazy. And so So my sister, she reaches out to a dentist that's like nearby. She's just like, okay, I know this dentist, like he's great, like I've taught his kids, like he's great. So we call up and I'm like, hey, I need to see a dentist. Mind you, I don't have dental insurance. Like I'm only covered under my parents' health insurance because I'm 25. So I don't even have dental insurance. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to cost me an arm and a leg, whatever needs to be done. I'm like on Google and Google is just like, oh yeah, you have nerve damage. Your tooth died. And I'm like, excuse me? So I'm like, oh my gosh, like you just can't be on Google. And it's like Google's telling me like you're going to lose your tooth and like it's going to turn black. And I'm just like when I tell you, I was just like, so we call the dentist and we explain everything, and she's just like, okay, we can get you in at 1. This is like our flat rate charge for individuals who don't have insurance. Like this is what you'll pay to get seen and to get an x-ray. And we were like, okay, the price was like $50 or so. Was that the price? I don't know. It was something like that. But we were like, okay, fine. Like we just need to go see what's going on because we don't know how, like this is progressing really fast. So let's address this. So we go to the dentist, really nice. Like he remembers my sister because she taught his kids. And so he was just like, okay, let's take a look. So he looks at my tooth. He like touches it, is looking at it with the light. And he's like, okay. He was just like, you know what, before I share what I think it is, let's get an x-ray. I was like, I'm sure you're not going to say anything worse than what Google has told me. He's like, what did Google say? I'm like, Google said that I'm going to lose my tooth. And he was just like, oh, he's like, okay, let's not go there. Let's get an x-ray. So he takes an x-ray and then he's just like, okay, okay, there might be an issue. And I was like, clearly there is because my tooth is gray. He's just like, okay, but I'm going to try one more thing to see like if this is really what I think it is. I can't tell based off the x-ray like any different from that tooth. Like I'll put the x-ray here and I don't see any different with the other tooth. So I don't know if that really determined anything. But so then he took like this he sprayed something on a Q-tip and he was just like, okay, I'm going to put this on your tooth and let me know what you feel. So he put it on my tooth and I didn't feel anything. So I was like, okay. And then he put it on my tooth next to it and then it got really cold. And I was like, oh, that's cold. He was like, all right. So your tooth has experienced nerve damage and it's no longer viable. The nerve died and your tooth is no longer getting any blood supply. Something along the lines. I'm not a dentist, so if you're a dentist and you're watching this and I'm saying the wrong things, I'm sorry. But this is what I remember. And so he said your tooth is no longer viable. Like you need to get a root canal as soon as possible because what's going to happen is your tooth is going to start getting inflamed and then it's going to eventually like push your tooth out and I was like, oh my gosh. I almost cried sitting in the dentist chair because I was like, a part of me has died. Like my tooth literally died. And I'm like, a root canal, like, I'm like, is that going to even get rid of the color? Like, what's going to happen? Like, I was freaking out, y'all, freaking out. And so he was just like, look, don't freak out. What can happen is you could do a root canal. Just tell your dentist, because mind you, I'm in Pennsylvania. This is where my sister lives, and I'm all the way in New York. So he's just like, they're going to try to tell you to put a crown on it. You don't need a crown. What you can do is just do internal bleaching, and that should help get rid of the color, because when we do a root canal, it's going to take everything out, and your tooth is going to be like a gray color. But if you do an internal bleaching, it should be fine. So I was just like, there is no way a dentist in New York is going to tell me to do that. They're going to be like, nope, you need a root canal, you need a crown, point blank, period. And I was so scared because, like, you think of a crown, that's like a fake tooth, right? Basically, I don't know. I'm not a dentist, okay? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to look like I have a chiclet in my tooth. Like, I was going crazy, y'all. And so I was like, no, I want him to do it. I was like, I want you to do my root canal. Like, I want you to do it. Like, when I tell you he was great, y'all, like, so great, like amazing. So I asked him, I was just like, so why did this happen? He was like, this happens from trauma. Basically, like if you bang your tooth on something. I told him I was using aligners and he was like, do you have them? And I didn't bring them with me because I'm like, I'm not putting those things back in my mouth. And so he was just like, what could have happened was that it shifted your tooth too quickly, and because of that, that's why your tooth experienced that trauma. And so he was asking me more about it. He was just like, so like, was it painful? I was like, yeah, it was super painful. Like, I was taking prescription strength Advil. He was like, it shouldn't hurt that bad. Like, there was no way for me to know that it would have hurt that bad because, like, I never had aligners before. So I just thought, like, oh, okay, so, like, it hurts like crazy. It's just because it's shifting my tooth. Let me get over it. He was like, no, like, the most you should feel is some pressure because he does Invisalign. So he knows, and he actually did it himself. So he knows, like, how it should feel. And so he was like, how long was it supposed to be? And I was like, 6 months. And he was like, I'm not gonna, like, you know, try to like burst your bubble or anything like that, but usually these treatments are a little longer. And so this could have been a possibility of why your tooth shifted. When I tell y'all, I was angry. I was angry because I didn't think that the aligners would mess up my tooth like that. I didn't think that, but it all made sense. Like what he was saying, he was telling me you're only supposed to move your tooth like a certain amount like per week. That's why he was asking so many questions, but I didn't know the answers as to how fast my tooth was moving. Not being followed by an orthodontist is kind of dangerous because, you know, they can kind of foresee issues that are happening. You're getting checkups. They can make sure everything is going as planned. And I know it's Smile Direct, like you send a picture after 90 days, but this was only month 2. So I wasn't even on my 90-day mark. So like this was missed, obviously. So yeah, I was just really sad. And so I went to go schedule, like, with his secretary, an appointment to try to get a root canal. Mind you, I go back to New York. I was supposed to go back on Saturday or Friday, that same day. Is he available on Saturday? Like, and she was like, oh no, he's not available for another 2 weeks to do this root canal. And I was like, one, I gotta walk around with a gray tooth for 2 weeks. She went back and she was talking to him, and so apparently he doesn't work on Mondays. But he was just like, you know what, since this case is emergent, I can come in on Monday and I can do the root canal for you. When I tell you that was God, I was like, thank you, Lord. Like, thank you. Thank you. Because I did not want to have to be walking around with a gray tooth. And so he was just like, come in on Monday morning. We can get this done for you. And then you can go home. So I had to get like an emergency root canal. So I went in that Monday. He did the root canal. The root canal went perfectly fine. He said that it's great, it's perfect. It didn't even hurt. I didn't feel a thing, which was like amazing. Like he just put like this lidocaine thing, like I'll post pictures. He put it there, numbed my like gums, and then he like put like a shot of like numbing stuff in my tooth. So when he did the root canal, I didn't even feel it. And then he did the internal bleaching, which made my tooth red. And I was really concerned and scared, and I was just like, now my tooth went from gray to red. But then when I got back home, the redness went away, and then my tooth went right back to normal. So y'all, this has been such an awakening moment for me. I recognize that if you're going to get dental work, get it done by a professional. Now, if you're like me and you don't have dental insurance, it's really hard to like get professional work done as an adult because adult braces are expensive. And it's just like Smile Direct was a very easy choice. And I personally knew people who did it. Like I was just talking to someone literally like a week before who did it, and it worked out perfectly fine for her. But it doesn't work for everyone. And so like, if you don't have dental insurance, something that I learned, if only I had known this, and this is why I'm making this video, to kind of like educate y'all on what you can do. You don't have to necessarily go the cheapest route and, you know, forsake the professionalism. But I purchased dental insurance so that way I can, you know, pay for some of the things that were super expensive, because I thought I was going to need a crown. I thought I was going to need all these things. So I looked into it and I found dental insurance. So I paid like $250 for the whole year. And basically I asked them, so like, what I would get. And so like if I wanted to get a crown or something like that, it would be like half the cost. And I was just like, I was just curious. I was just like, so how much are adult braces? He was like, oh yeah, it's covered, and you would pay like 2,000 something. I was like, are you serious? I spent like what, 1,800 or something on Smile Direct because I paid up front. And I think if you pay monthly, you end up paying like 2,000 something. And you can get adult braces for 2,000 something, followed by an orthodontist if you pay 250 for a whole year. You can buy private dental insurance and you can spend a certain amount a month. You could just buy for the whole year and you can have coverage, because the way I did it, I got immediate coverage. So whatever I needed to do, I would be covered for that with the insurance plan that I purchased. So if you want to get braces to fix your teeth, go to a professional. Even if you don't have dental insurance, you have other options available. Don't think that you just have to do what's all over the internet. It's best to be followed by an orthodontist who can really, help guide that process. So, so I stopped doing Smile Direct Club, and I don't regret it. It was a really tough journey for me, y'all. Like, it was so painful. Like, I couldn't eat. Like, I honestly think I would have preferred metal braces on my mouth, because at least you don't have to take that out to eat. Like, that was so annoying. Some people might want that just because you don't see it, but honestly, like, I love to eat, so that was really hard for me. So I don't regret that decision. However, something that's been really frustrating though is the customer service that I've received. Like, I emailed them, I called Smile Direct, and they put in a ticket because I said I want a refund. And let's just say I haven't heard from them yet. So another thing to kind of take into consideration is that, like, they're not the greatest with customer service as far as like my experience. I've just been trying to wait so patiently because they told me, oh, we'll call you in 3 to 5 business days. On the 5th business day, I called, like, hey, no one called me. Oh, it's not the end of the business day. Someone can still call you. And I was like, what? And no one called me. So then I called again, and they were like, oh, well, we can't transfer you to the accounts team. Like, they have to call you. And I'm like, but they haven't called me. So I send them another email, and then they're just like, okay, we'll call you in 7 to 10 business days. So I'm patiently waiting, but it's just been very frustrating that that's how their setup is. With such a big company, at least right now, I would think that they would be a lot better with that. So I'm just patiently waiting because like, my tooth was like messed up because of their service. So I'm just trying to, be patient, and I'm not making this video to bash Smile Direct Club, but I just wanted to make this video to know that it works for some, but it doesn't work for all. So just be mindful and think about certain things before you consider doing this. And know that you have other options. Like, yes, braces are expensive. However, you have other options. Like, my sister, she got braces, and her insurance didn't cover it, but she said her dentist worked with her and she was able to pay it off monthly, like for 2-3 years. So that amount is probably the amount that you spend on Starbucks every month. So there are other ways. Just talk to your dentist. If I could go back, I would have definitely just gone to an orthodontist, talk to them, explore my options instead of just going straight to what was accessible or all over the internet and cheaper. Because honestly, like, with the dental insurance I got now, I could have spent the same amount that I spent on Smile Direct and would have actually had probably a better outcome, because it probably would have even worked on my overbite. But anyways, but honestly, at the end of the day, what I learned from this process is to appreciate my smile. I was trying to change my smile for the wrong reasons. And it's not even because I wasn't happy with it. It was just because I was made fun of about it. And I know that's like, we shouldn't make decisions based off of just like what other people say, but only if you truly believe that that's what you want to do. So if you want to change your smile for you, go right ahead. I'm not trying to bash anyone who's trying to change their smile, but my motive wasn't completely right. And so I've learned to just really appreciate my smile. I have a beautiful smile, and I need to appreciate that. So yeah, and if I do any work to just make sure that I get it done by a professional. And yeah, social media is great. It's great for ads. It's great for, you know, imparting a lot of things that is like the trends now. And Smile Direct Club did a great job of advertising. If only they'll be better in their customer service. But you know, I'm patiently waiting. So I hope that this video provided you with some insight into my experience. I personally don't recommend it, but that's my personal opinion. So comment below if you have any thoughts, or if any individuals who did not use Smile Direct Club, why. Comment if you did use Smile Direct Club and you had a bad experience. Like, comment below, let's have a discussion. Or if you did, like, share like some tips for someone who's considering it. So you can comment below, or you can email me at behismasterpiece@gmail.com. Go out, be kind, be caring, be loving, and as always, be his masterpiece. Bye, y'all.